So I got this 2-inch spacer lift for the tracker, and I started putting it on. And it's pretty simple. It just goes above the springs and the strut on the front. I'll have to do it next. But it just goes in there and raises it up, and then you can either buy longer shocks, or I'm probably just going to modify the shock mount and make me a spacer to go in here and call it good. It's just an old beater. The rear lift is done, and there's with 31s on it, and it's a night and day difference. Back on the lift kit for the Geo, went ahead and got the front tires off, and I have to remove the struts and the front springs. The struts have to unbolt down in there and over there, get them out. So that's what I'm gonna work on next. I got the strut out. Now I gotta use a set of spring compressors to collapse the spring to get it down, to get it out, and put the spacer in here. Well, I got the driver's side spring spacer in, and as much as you had to compress that spring, that was borderline sketchy, but it's in there. Here's the passenger side. Unfortunately, I have to wait a few days to put it back together because the strut is worthless. So I had to order those, and they'll be here in a few days. I went ahead and got the struts all disassembled because I gotta have these mounts still. And for this lift kit, because it came with the spacers to go above this, I have to knock these studs out to put longer bolts through it, because this spacer is going to sit on top of it like that. And with the longer bolts to come up through to re-bolt it down. These studs out, I just put a socket over the head of it and put it in a vise, and I'm just cranking on the handle and popping them out. And I went ahead and shoved the strut spacers up into place. I got the new struts, and I went ahead and bought new mounts as well. Whenever I ordered these struts, I actually found them really cheap on eBay. I got them for $13 a piece, but they were both for the right side. So all I did was, on this one, the bracket was over here, so I just cut it off and tack welded it on the other. All that is a brake line clip. So I have about 30 bucks and 2 struts. So I'm gonna get started back on finishing up this lift kit. I gotta change out the struts and stuff, but I had a busted CV boot on the driver's side, and it was literally going to be $30 for a CV boot kit and $50 to buy a whole axle. So I'm going to be changing that out real quick while I'm in here. Unfortunately, I don't have the socket that fits this, so I'm just going to use a punch. There's the old strut. Now I got to take these 3 bolts back here that hold the axle in out. And the old axle's out, and we're ready for the new one. I'm just going to go ahead and put that in. We're going to be putting in our new strut. So luckily for me, whenever I ordered the lift kit, I didn't realize I had to get struts, so I had to wait for those to get ordered. So in the directions on that lift kit, it says you have to purchase these cam bolts separately to get a proper alignment. So I had to order those as well, and those go in the top, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So these here are the cam bolts. Let's see if we can get this to focus. And they've got a lobe on them just like a camshaft. And this here's the factory bolt. And what this does is this allows, whenever you install this, this allows this top part of the spindle to go back towards the shock further so that your wheels aren't pitched out at the top, they stay straight like that. How these bolts operate is with this cam lobe on here and this washer. Whenever you run this in and you want to put the tab on this special washer backwards away from the tire, but once you get that in there, this lobe on here rotates like the camshaft on a car. So if you watch this, whenever I spin this, it actually takes the top of the spindle inward, and that's how that operates. And that's the driver's side all done. Lift kit, new struts, camber adjusted. Moving on to the passenger side. And I went ahead and pulled the strut out of the passenger side. This one here was really bad, if you can't tell. So I'm gonna get the new ones and throw them back in there. And there's what the passenger side looks like, all installed. With the cam bolt at the top. So on my wheels that I picked up on Facebook Marketplace, the guy gave me these center caps for them. But I want to be able to get to my locking hub. So once again, here we go with my favorite tool in the world. And I'm just going to cut the end of the front ones off so I can get to my locking hubs. And just a little tip, I just take some painter's tape and wrap it around there so I can use that for a guide while I'm cutting with the grinder. Give me a nice, even, clean cut. And there you go, nice and even. And it will allow me access to my hub. Real quick before I forget, if you guys want the info on this lift kit, right here's where I got it on eBay. However, Suzuki, Geo, Nissan, you got a Ford Raptor on your Business card there, bub. Anyhow, if you like what you're seeing, I'm going to do the weekly video drops. Geo Tracker, 2-inch lift kit, 31s, correct camber. And it looks good. 31, 10, 50, 15s. And it's a Geo Trucker, not a tracker. So if you like videos like this and want to keep seeing stuff, you guys know what to do on the Hoopy Made YouTube channel. So, new development on the lift kit with 31s. I have some slight rubbing right in here whenever I completely cut the wheel. So I'm probably just going to get my favorite tool in the world out and go to town on this. And if anything, I don't know if there's some metal back in there, the hammer will take care of that. And then I'm probably going to trim the front just along the bottom just a little bit, just to be safe. So I'll show you guys how that turns out whenever I'm done. So this is going to be really simple because behind this plastic panel, it's pretty much hollow other than the edge of this body seam. And considering I only need to cut just a wee little bit of it off, it'll be fine. I'll do a little bit of the bottom of the fender here because it clears this. It's just down in this corner. Definitely went a little trim happy and cut this tab off so that screw would have caught it. So I'm going to give a shout out to my old buddy Paul because he says I'm the king of self-tapping screws. So right there's another one for you, buddy. And then I just took a hammer after I cut that off, after I cut this little chunk off. I had a nice sharp edge on it. I went ahead and bent this over so it's nice and smooth, so in case in flex it does happen to rub this, it's not going to tear my tire up too bad. And on this front piece, on the bumper, all I did was take the grinder and just give it about an inch, inch and a quarter of extra clearance, just in case. And there it is, all clearanced out. I can fully turn the wheels now. I couldn't before. See, the trimming just gave a little bit in the front. There's the passenger. So there's 31 1050s on a Geo Tracker.